I would like to hand over to His Excellency Mr. Nasrur Hamid, State Minister of Power, Energy and Mineral Resources of Bangladesh, who will preside on my behalf over the remainder of this session, which will continue with member interventions. Mr. Hamid, you have the floor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Excellencies, distinguished participants. Good afternoon, and over here, good evening. I would like to start by thanking the President of the Assembly for inviting me to preside over this session. I also like to inform members that the Secretariat invited delegations to register in the speakers list prior to the opening of the Assembly for member interventions under Agenda Item 5, Annual Report of the Director General on the implementation of the work program and budget for 2020 and 2021. And Agenda Item 6, Proposed Work Program and Budget for 2022-2023. I will give the floor to delegations in the order of the speakers list provided by the Secretariat. In order to ensure the highest level of participations, speakers are invited to limit their intervention to 3 minutes. And now, I like to give the floor to country Zimbabwe, Honorable Excellency Mr. Soda Zemu, Minister of Energy and Power Development. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me begin by recognizing the Director General for IRENA, Your Excellency Mr. Francisco La Camera, Your Excellencies, and let me say all protocol observed. Compliments of the new season. It is indeed a great achievement to have this meeting held successfully following the recent emergence of the 4th wave of the COVID-19 pandemic, which is affecting all of us. We are all aware that the 4th wave caused this meeting to be held virtually rather than through physical attendance as envisaged. Zimbabwe also extends her gratitude to the host country, UAE, for hosting the agency and ministerial assemblies annually without fail. Your efforts to assist members to attend in person, though unsuccessful, is greatly appreciated. We wish to congratulate the Director General and appreciate the work done by the agents during the period 2021 to 2022 at national, regional, and international level. The report on the implementation of the work program for 2021-2022 is acknowledged, and once again, congratulations to the Director General and his team. In particular, Zimbabwe is grateful of the work by IRENA in partnership with the UNDP Climate Promise Initiative and the NDC Partnerships Climate Action Enhancement Package on the revision of the country's nationally determined contributions. We are glad that our revised NDC's commitments now encompass all sectors of the economy rather than just the energy sector, as was the case in the initial NDCs of 2015. We subsequently launched our revised NDCs at the recently held COP26 summit in Glasgow last year. This task was a success despite challenges of having to conduct meetings, consultations, and workshops virtually. The program of collaborative frameworks was also an eye-opener to Zimbabwe as we embark on the energy transition pathway. The road is not easy for us, the developing countries, given that we still have a significant part of our population that lack access to modern energy, electricity in particular, and even clean cooking technologies. The decision to phase down coal, which was passed at COP26, calls for action from all members to the extent that IRENA has a lot of work to assist members technically, materially, and policy-wise on the way forward. We also take note of the proposed work program budgets for the 2022-2023 and our contributions were mailed before. While we appreciate the approach by IRENA to engage and implement support at regional level through regional blocks, it is important that the Secretariat be in contact with the individual country focal points at all levels of engagement to keep track of specific country developments, to avoid duplication of requests and ensure relevance of programs to countries' needs. With respect to energy access, Zimbabwe has developed some policies that will assist us to achieve energy access, especially targeting the rural people. The country is working on development of a policy on electric mobility as a way to decarbonize the transport sector. This policy, coupled together with energy efficiency policy, which is at final draft stage, are meant to create an enabling environment for investment in green technologies in the country. As a country, we also have vast lithium deposits which have largely remained untapped. Going forward, we are keen to have partnerships to develop the e-vehicle value chain, including manufacturing of lithium-ion batteries in Zimbabwe for various energy storage applications. Through this platform, Zimbabwe wishes to reiterate its expression of interest to be vice president for the 13th session of the Assembly in response to the notification by the Director General enclosed in the sessional documents package of this 12th session of the Assembly. Zimbabwe also wishes to express its interest to partner IRENA in hosting the regional investment roundtable once the circumstances allow for in-person meetings. Finally, but not least, Zimbabwe wishes to thank IRENA for the unwavering support which it has expressed since the beginning. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Excellency. I now give the floor to country Egypt. His Excellency Mr. Mohammad Shakar Al-Markabi, Minister of Electricity and Renewable Energy. Excellency, are you there? Okay, we have our next speakers. I give the floor to country Colombia, His Excellency Diogo Mesa Pue, Minister of Mining and Energy.
Good afternoon to everyone, honorable IRENA authorities, country representatives, participants. Good afternoon to you all. Let me begin by welcoming IRENA's efforts in convening this assembly, despite the global conditions and the situation that has emerged due to the new COVID-19 variant Omicron. We would like to especially acknowledge the agency's efforts to accelerate the achievement of sustainable energy, even amid the continuing COVID pandemic difficulties. I would also like to thank you especially the Director General for the presentation of the annual report on the implementation of the work program for 2020 and 2021, and for all the help and support to Colombia's energy transition process, which IRENA has provided over the last 3 years. Throughout 2021, Colombia, as a member of the Council, sought an opportunity to ensure that the work program and the medium-term strategy of IRENA were in line with the region needs in South America. Colombia has been keen to promote and support the agency in the development of decarbonization pathways, energy transition, and emission reduction strategies. We understand that energy transition requires a significant change in the sources of energy generation and greater electrification of the economy to face the challenges of climate change and achieve emission reduction targets. Our country is proud of the tremendous progress achieved in recent years, which is the result of the implementation of a solid regulatory and policy framework that includes tax incentives that are designed to bring investment into renewable energy. The energy sector will continue to be a fundamental part of the economic reactivation process in Colombia. And in 2022, we have a golden opportunity to consolidate economic recovery by developing initiatives and projects that will continue to transform our energy mix, closing social gaps, especially in energy access, and bringing well-being and better quality of life to all our citizens. It's our deep hope to achieve these goals, working closely with IRENA. Energy transition has been the main policy of our government, and it will surely be one of the main legacies for future generations of Colombians. We have promoted and adopted a set of policies that have helped us accelerate the deployment of clean energy and guarantee a sustainable energy supply for future generations. I'd like to highlight some of the examples that what we've done over the last 3 years. We've created a very competitive regulatory framework and a package of fiscal incentives to ensure significant investment in energy transition. We've also created resource mobilization mechanisms to guarantee a stable environment for private investment and the participation of multilateral banks in renewable energy expansion projects. We carried out a successful auction program that included innovations in public policy, such as having carried out the first two-sided auction for renewable energy in the world back in 2019. As a result, Colombia has awarded now projects in renewable energy that are more than 100 times the installed capacity that we had back in 2018. We closed 2021 having increased the share of variable renewable sources in our power mix by more than 25 times, going from less than 30 megawatts in 2018 to more than 700 megawatts at the end of 2021. And we will close 2022 with 2,500 megawatts. So the share in the power mix will go from less than 0.2% to between 10 and 12% in just 4 years. We also enacted in 2021 the energy transition law that will continue to consolidate Colombia's energy transition, making our country one of the most attractive destinations for investment in non-conventional or variable renewable energy in Latin America. This law aims also to close gaps, promoting equality, sustainable mobility, and improving incentives for generations in Colombia. We also have promoted sustainable, innovative, clean and friendly systems, such as energy storage. We launched the first auction for large-scale storage with batteries in Latin America in 2021. And we also have been working towards sustainable mobility, which has positioned Colombia as a regional leader in sales of electric vehicles. As a result, we also been working in massifying individual solar solutions to close energy gaps. And in 2021, we end up with more than 70,000 new families that have received electricity for the first time. We have projects underway to close 2022 with more than 100,000 families in this 4-year term. In addition, the inclusion of new business models, such as virtual or logistics networks, would allow us to close the energy gap by 2030. Colombia has also become a benchmark in the global hydrogen economy due to its exceptional renewable resources and the government's drive to promote its deployment. In 2021, we launched with international cooperation our hydrogen roadmap, which defines the guidelines for the development of hydrogen by 2050. We identified areas of the country with the greatest potential for low emission hydrogen, and we will be prioritizing these sectors. We have an opportunity to reconvert all the gray hydrogen that we use in our two refineries to low or zero emission hydrogen over the next 10 years. These initiatives are fully aligned with the mitigation goal of Colombia's updated national determined contribution presented at COP26. And we will continue to work on the Glasgow agreements, including reducing 11.2 million tons of CO2 equivalent by 2030. The Glasgow Climate Pact was an important step. Significant wins were included towards the urgent need to advance in policies that keep us within the 1.5 degrees Celsius limit, enhancing adaptation, resilience, and ensuring the necessary means and implementation. With this in mind, we will reiterate our commitment to work hand in hand with IRENA to achieve clean energy systems and to close the gaps to guarantee sustainable energy for the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Excellency. I now give the floor to country, India. Mr. Dinesh Jagdale, Joint Secretary at the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy.
Thank you, Excellency. Greetings from India. Excellencies, India would like to congratulate El Salvador on being elected as the president of the 12th IRENA Assembly, and Barbuda, Bangladesh, Egypt, and Greece for being elected as vice presidents. We also appreciate the positive outcomes emerging from the recently concluded high-level energy dialogue on energy and COP26 last year. India was one of the global champions for the energy transition theme of the high-level dialogue. Our advocacy efforts to promote the theme were highly successful and managed to bring positive impact. Adding to the intended outcomes of the dialogue, 21 energy compacts were submitted by Indian entities to the UN. Several more will shortly follow. At COP26, India announced the enhanced target of 500 gigawatt of installed power capacity from non-fossil fuel-based sources, while meeting 50% of its power requirement from renewable energy sources to be achieved by 2030. Our non-fossil based installed capacity today exceeds 158 gigawatts, which is 40% of the total installed capacity. Through dedicated government support and the private sector participation, solar and wind power have achieved grid parity in India. Programs on biomass power and waste to energy applications have immensely benefited millions of users. India's Green Energy Corridor program also has received international acclaim. Through our schemes like PM Kusum, which is primarily aiming at solarizing the agriculture sector, and the rooftop solar program, we have transformed consumers into prosumers while simultaneously cutting down on emissions. India is now set to tap into approximately 70 gigawatt of offshore wind potential. We are also focusing on scaling up our indigenous solar manufacturing capacity. Through the current production linked incentive scheme, we expect to add additional 10 gigawatt of manufacturing capacity in a span of 5 years. Recognizing that green hydrogen is going to play an important role in the decarbonization of our economies, especially the hard to decarbonize sectors, India has announced a national hydrogen mission to scale up green hydrogen production and utilization across multiple sectors. We're working on a roadmap to achieve a target of about 1 million tons annual green energy production by 2030. India has also joined hands with international community to materialize the Green Grid Initiative, One Sun, One World, One Grid initiative jointly launched by India and the UK at the COP26. Through initiatives like the ISA and the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, India is facilitating the global energy transition while also ensuring that such transition is disaster resilient and future ready. That brings us to the question of climate finance and technology transfer. Excellencies, there must be no doubts whatsoever on the responsibility of the developed countries to finance energy transition in the developing world and facilitate it through requisite technology transfer. All the more so due to the financial and technological resources they command, as well as the pressure on environment their lifestyles place. The developmental needs of these countries must be kept in mind to help them meet the aspirations and ambitions of their citizens and provide a respectable standard of living to all of them. Excellencies, I would like to take this opportunity to reiterate India's commitment to a timely global energy transition while also ensuring that it is just, inclusive, and equitable, is in sync with the SDG agenda and leaves no one behind. Thank you, Excellency.
Thank you. I now give the floor to country United States of America, Ms. Anna Spitzberg, Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for Energy Transformations.
Thank you. Distinguished colleagues, though like others, I very much hope to deliver these remarks to you in person. I'm happy to be able to join you today and to tell you that the United States remains committed to the Assembly and the collective action necessary for IRENA to succeed. For all of us who were present, or for those listening from afar to the messages from leaders at COP26, we recall the repeated stress on climate change being a reality that we are facing today, not in 10 years, not tomorrow, but today. It is the reason that collective action is vital, and given that the energy sector accounts for the vast majority of greenhouse gas emissions, it is important that the action focus in on clean energy. And that is why, virtual or not, this assembly is important. It is one of the first international energy events with near universal membership meeting to execute on the commitments coming out of COP26. And of course, the focus is on renewable energy and associated technologies. We now find ourselves in a place where we need to distinguish the technologies that are economically viable, but need to be adopted at a greater scale, from those that are not yet commercial, but necessary to achieve net zero goals. IRENA has helped position many of our commercial technologies, and IRENA is well positioned to address new technologies and pressing challenges for those that need to scale. In particular, we believe that IRENA can continue to play a key role in assuring a just transition, in understanding and improving critical mineral supply chains for renewables, in analyzing new clean energy technology solutions, market structures, planning protocols for greater renewable deployment. And IRENA has an opportunity to promote partnerships that de-risk projects and thus lower financing costs, a key impediment to achieving our climate goals. And that is how we should prioritize. It should be to tackle the greatest roadblocks to achieve the greatest good. And I must say, the workforce component is an important part of our journey. The Biden administration has taken on the challenge of an inclusive energy transition that puts workers and communities first, both at home and abroad. The United States and South Africa co-chair an IRENA collaborative framework on a just and inclusive transition. And we hope other members will join us in 2022 when we will explore the theme of jobs and livelihoods. This ties into the promising Just Energy Transition Partnership with South Africa, in which the United Kingdom, the United States, France, Germany, and the European Union are investing $8.5 billion towards South Africa's decarbonization path. We hope it serves as a model on an energy transition that supports affected communities. And just as we focus on final technologies, we cannot lose sight of the necessity to build robust supply chains for the minerals and metals needed for these technologies. The U.S. State Department leads the Energy Resource Governance Initiative, a multilateral effort to help build responsible, transparent, and resilient supply chains for clean energy minerals. And we plan to step up our engagement with IRENA and member states on this topic in 2022. Now, all of these conversations often come down to investment. We applaud the launch of IRENA's Energy Transition Accelerator financing platform and the seed funding provided by our host through the Abu Dhabi Fund for Development and other donors. The United States looks forward to coordinating with the platform as we work to leverage financing for developing clean energy markets. On the policy front, IRENA plays an important role in shaping the international conversation on renewable energy deployment. In the context of the ongoing medium-term strategy discussions chaired by Denmark and by Kenya, we need to identify ways for IRENA to differentiate itself by continuing to provide thought leadership through well-funded reports, analysis, and data, while also positively affecting policy that brings us to net zero in 2050. In the IRENA medium-term strategy discussions, we hope to focus in on mobilization of private capital and leveraging of private sector goals. For example, at COP26, the U.S. Special Presidential Envoy for Climate, Kerry, launched the Clean Energy Demand Initiative, SETI, with high-level officials from Indonesia, from Thailand, from Vietnam, and Nigeria, as well as C-suite officials from Amazon, HP, Nike, IKEA, Salesforce, and Walmart. SETI is a platform that connects companies across all sectors with 100% renewable goals, with countries dedicated to deploying clean energy in the pursuit of commercial and industrial growth. And through SETI, companies have already indicated investment interest, which could drive up to $100 billion in renewable energy infrastructure across 14 countries. This is a key component to scaling commercial technologies. Additionally, Special Envoy Kerry launched the First Movers Coalition, where companies combine their purchasing power to build demand for emerging technologies such as hydrogen. We hope to discuss how best to bolster efforts to leverage the commitments of these non-traditional participants in energy for financing for energy, because we need significant capital to achieve our goals. And of course, within the strategy, we must also make room for creative cross-cutting approaches like the Compact on Renewable Energy and Peacekeeping, which the United States looks forward to further exploring. Colleagues, the United States was pleased to serve as the Program and Strategy Committee Chair and on the Administration and Finance Committee earlier in the year, as well as participate in the Governing Council this past year. We look forward to an active role in 2022 and encourage all members to engage intensively to facilitate our collective path toward a decarbonized world and the opportunities that it holds. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Anna Spitzberg. I now give the floor to country El Salvador, Mr. Daniel Alvarez, President of Hydroelectric Executive Commission. Floor is yours.
Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you very much. And on behalf of the Salvadoran government, I would like to express my gratitude to IRENA for holding the 12th Assembly, and Salvador has chaired it. And I would like to also thank the leadership of IRENA, especially Francesco La Camara, for holding this high-level event. We know that unfortunately we cannot be on site together, but I'm happy to at least see you online, and I'm grateful to the United Arab Emirates for thinking about the health of all of us. And I'm also greeting on behalf of President Guterres, who through a historic process is changing the history of this country with his priority on environmental goals and the use of renewable sources of energy and new technologies. Salvador is bolstering renewables, and in the past 2.5 years, we are about to add 66 megawatts in terms of hydropower. We're also working on geothermal energy. There are several projects on the table, and we'll probably obtain 95 megawatts through this source, this technological source. IRENA is a strategic partner for all of us. They're very active. They are playing a part in this transformation, this energy transition in El Salvador. We started by carrying out an assessment of renewable sources of energy, which allowed us to change our laws, historic changes. We understood that electricity is a service for our citizens. So all of these legal amendments led to the creation of more PV, wind power, and natural gas projects. And it also allowed us to explore tidal energy and power projects. So in these past 2.5 years under President Guterres, we have made a lot of headway. It's a transformation that we hadn't seen in the past 40 years in the country. And I think that we're speeding up this transition. We're increasing our energy mix with geothermal, which accounts for 25% of the power being used in our country today. And despite the fact that that resource has always been there, there was no additional megawatt coming from that source, and we're currently working so that this project can be sustainable into the future, and hopefully it will be a reality. In November last year, an innovative unit was set up that will help the government build sustainable and resilient societies based on geothermal energy that will be provided by our own natural resources, an experience that we're more than welcome to share with all of you. There will be airports as well as commercial areas that will be fully powered by geothermal energy. It will become a unique area in our country, but also unique in the world because, as I said, it will be fully powered by renewable sources of energy. So I'm very satisfied about the fact that IRENA decided to touch upon this during the ministerial forum and to choose this location as a hub. All the countries will be able to understand and take stock of their own geothermal sources. We would like to reiterate our commitment. We are here to help all of you. We're also in Glasgow during the COP26, and together with the government, the president will continue to support the work carried out by IRENA, and obviously that commitment will continue in the future. That's it for me. Thank you very much, and greetings to all of you.
Thank you, Excellencies. I now give the floor to Belgium, His Excellency Peter Klaus. Ambassador of
Thank you.
Belgium in the UAE and permanent representative of IRENA. Floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Director General, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to deliver this statement on behalf of Belgium and start to congratulate and thank IRENA leadership and staff for the work done since the previous General Assembly, and all members indeed for their support and positive engagement in line with the global commitment to urgently and seriously tackle climate change while providing answers to the world's ever-increasing energy needs to fuel sustainable and equitable development. Belgium welcomes the annual progress report and acclaims the efforts IRENA has made in the implementation of the work program and budget for 2020-21, resulting in a high percentage of activities that IRENA managed to accomplish. Under the challenging circumstances of the pandemic, IRENA was able to show flexibility in adapting its work to country needs. Looking ahead in the context of the post-COVID recovery process, the need of high-quality analytical work is more necessary than ever to assist policymakers in seizing the opportunity to shape resilient energy systems for a sustainable future. Belgium further encourages all initiatives put in place by IRENA in order to facilitate members' cooperation, like the collaborative frameworks. With those actions, IRENA can create a virtuous circle. More interactions and cooperation means more expertise in the hands of IRENA, and this can lead in turn to more visibility for IRENA and an even better project's delivery. Also, Belgium welcomes the proposed work program for 2022-23, which provides a relevant, balanced, and impact-driven framework that will enable IRENA and its members to jointly address the challenges of the ongoing energy transition. Belgium is particularly pleased with the focus on the need to accelerate the deployment of renewable energy worldwide and the prospect of 8,000 gigawatt of installed capacity by 2030, as recommended by the UN High-Level Dialogue on Energy. Belgium would also like to congratulate IRENA for the outstanding quality of its recent publications. More specifically, Belgium stresses the guidance value of the World Energy Transition Outlook. It places the development and the deployment of renewable energies in a holistic policy framework, leading to a just, equitable, and inclusive transition. In this spirit, the regional approach to be materialized in the development of regional energy transition outlooks is an efficient and constructive method that will allow the diverse priorities, abilities, and needs of its members. Belgium supports IRENA's desire to promote multilateralism and international cooperation in its meetings. This, combined with the tool of multilingualism, allows to strengthen the participation of members and support the impact on the ground by making the work of the agency more accessible to stakeholders. Belgium congratulates IRENA for the monitoring and evaluation efforts on renewables and recommends to continue them, as they can only encourage members to contribute to the work. They can also support the search for funding resources. Finally, Belgium would like to urge IRENA to strengthen its communication to disseminate information on the possibilities, achievements, and progress in terms of renewable energy production, to improve IRENA's visibility among the general public, but above all, to convey in the current troubled times a message of inspiration and confidence in the future. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Excellency. I now give the floor to Norway. His Excellency, Mr. Steen Arne Rosnes, Ambassador, Embassy of Norway.
Thank you. Decisions made at COP26 kept the 1.5 degree target alive. Specific references to energy efficiency and coal were included for the first time in a COP document. Reference to renewable energy has, however, not been included so far. COP28, convened under the leadership of UAE, supported by IRENA, will give us an opportunity to ensure that renewable energy gets its rightful recognition as part of the energy transformation. IRENA has assisted a number of countries in preparing NDCs. We would encourage IRENA to increasingly focus its analytical work on how countries can achieve the necessary reductions in emissions, about 45%, and how to achieve SDG 7 by 2030. Achievements by 2030 will determine if we will reach our long-term goal of net zero by 2050. The work needs to recognize that energy security challenges will remain and evolve with the transition to a net zero future, and that affordable and reliable energy supply will be critical to maintain market stability. There is also a need to assist countries in ensuring a just and inclusive energy transition, diversifying economies, and reducing inefficient subsidies. IRENA is a trusted source of transparent data and analysis. Empirical and analytical work should be at core of the agency's work. We welcome the proposed work program and budget for 22 to 23. Chair, in Norway, our new government highlights the important role of renewable energy in our economy and the need to implement a green transition where renewable energy and other clean energy solutions will gradually take over the role of oil and gas for job and welfare creation. Many of our established energy partners have started to work in the renewables sector. Carbon capture, utilization, and storage will be key to achieving climate goals. Norway, through the Northern Lights project, is realizing a large-scale value chain for capture, transport, and storage of CO2. After capture in industrial processes, the CO2 will be transported by ship to a CO2 hub and pipe for safe storage below the seabed. Through the Hywind Tampen project that will electrify an oil field, we aim to support the development of floating offshore wind. Norway has high ambitions also in hydrogen, both green and blue, from natural gas with CCS. Our research and technology communities develop and supplies equipment and services across the new value chain. As the transport sector is key in the energy transition, I am pleased to note that in 2021, 65% of new cars sold in Norway were electric vehicles. We are also leading electrification of ferries and coastal transport. Finally, the ongoing turmoil in energy markets underscores the need to focus on a just and inclusive transition, balancing all interests involved. IRENA is well positioned to demonstrate the benefits of renewable energy in the global energy transition. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Excellency. I now give the floor to Uruguay, His Excellency Mr. Alvaro Siriani, Embassy of Uruguay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and allow me to congratulate Madam Chairwoman and the 4 Vice Chairs for your appointment, and wish you, all the success in the deliberations of this General Assembly. Now, if you don't mind, I will shift to Spanish language. Señor Director General Francesco La Cámara.
Director General Francesco La Cámara.
Sorry, I need to turn off this. Okay, sorry for this. I'm turning off the translation. Señor Director General Francesco La Cámara.
Director General Francesco La Cámara. Dear delegates, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, in order to begin, I would like to extend our congratulations to the Director General and the whole Secretariat IRENA for once again a very successful organization of the Assembly, despite the new healthcare situation across the world. We are also grateful to the United Arab Emirates government for being so hospitable. We understand that holding an online event is quite a task, and we all look forward to reuniting on site. However, all of your contributions and the information that our countries are providing about renewables are extremely useful. IRENA has kept its commitment throughout 2021, as we can see on the yearly report of the working plan and the budget for 2020-2021, even though the COVID pandemic is still rampant. We can see that renewables are the only possibility to make progress. So we congratulate IRENA for all of their hard work in this kind of international initiatives, such as the High Level on Energy, organized by the United Nations, as well as the Ministerial Meeting on Climate Change, and the G20 meeting, as well as its participation during COP26. Likewise, we support initiatives that have been launched by IRENA and the United Nations, such as the Energy Compact in peacekeeping operations. Uruguay is one of the most important countries that contribute troops in this kind of operations. So we believe it is indispensable to have a dialogue in order to boost the energy transition in areas in which these peacekeeping operations take place. In 2021, Uruguay also collaborated strongly with the organization. We took part of several technical fora in fields of renewables, such as geothermal or wind power. We also facilitated in the collaborative framework to reinforce this dialogue about the high penetration of renewables in grids representing Uruguay before IRENA, as well as on the midterm working group for 2023-2027. And we're also very happy to announce that recently Uruguay accepted IRENA's invitation to be part of the Global Geothermal Energy Alliance, a platform that will allow to attract investment for geothermal power and will encourage the exchange of experiences in this field among different countries. So in keeping with the national and international commitments adopted by our country, Uruguay is happy to have finalized its first stage of decarbonizing the generation of electric power with an important percentage, 97% on average in the past 4 years of renewables. So this process of bringing on non-conventional renewable sources of energy to complement our energy mix in the country is an important push in the regional context. That we have to say that in 2013, Uruguay changed its role because we started exporting electricity generated mostly by renewables to neighboring countries. And currently, we continue along these lines with different initiatives to bolster our role in renewables all across the country, such as, for instance, the recent issuance of renewable certificates. And our country has now launched this national certification process for renewable energy. It's an electronic certificate that ensures that the amount of megawatts per hour produced during a given time have been created through renewable sources of energy. And all the results that have been generated are the fruit of a very solid, multidisciplinary policy from the government in the past 15 years, keeping our commitment to move the country towards the energy transition in order to become CO2 neutral by 2050, which is one of the commitments that were adopted during the Paris Agreement. So in order to sum up, we would like to also thank the organizers for choosing Uruguay as the chair country. We are aware of the great responsibility that this role entails, and we will be happy to work with the organization and other member states in the future as well, so we can continue to contribute along those lines. And I'm sure that there will be successful meetings during this General Assembly, and Uruguay is more than willing to help you organize any such event because they will be extremely fruitful for our energy transitions. Thank you very much.
I now give the floor to Canada. Mr. Andre Bania, Director General of the Natural Resources Canada.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Director General La Camera, Excellencies, distinguished delegates. Even as we continue our collective efforts to address the COVID-19 pandemic, our efforts to address the climate challenge must accelerate. Canada recognizes this and has increased its greenhouse gas emissions reductions ambition with an objective to achieve a 40 to 45% reduction by 2030 and become net zero by 2050. At the 26th Conference of the Parties, Prime Minister Trudeau also committed Canada to achieve a net zero electricity system by 2035, acknowledging the critical role of clean electrification in this transition. Canada is already working towards phasing out coal-fired generation by 2030 and is on track to have the majority of its remaining coal capacity offline by the end of 2024. Transitioning rural, remote, and Indigenous communities that rely on diesel to renewable energy solutions has been an area of focus for Canada, and we're proud to work with IRENA to bring forward a new initiative addressing this issue. Announced at the 26th Conference of the Parties, this new multi-stakeholder platform will support the global transition of remote communities to renewable energy by generating new knowledge and sharing best practices on regional and local solutions to bring clean, decentralized renewable energy to remote communities. A distinctive focus will be on creating opportunities for increasing local ownership of clean energy projects, building local capacity and economic opportunities, including jobs for youth and women. I would like to take this opportunity to invite other member countries to join Canada and IRENA in this new initiative. Canada greatly values the contribution of IRENA to the global dialogue on the energy transformation. Canada fully supports the proposed work program for 2022-2023 and looks forward to contributing to the work to define the 2023 to 2027 medium-term strategy over the coming year, which will ensure IRENA remains a nexus for knowledge and dialogue on the deployment of renewable energy and enabling technologies. Thank you.
Thank you, Excellency. I now give the floor to country Indonesia, Mr. Dadon Kusdiana, Director General of New Renewable Energy and Energy Conservation, Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Excellencies, delegates. Good evening from Jakarta. First of all, thank you to Director General Francesco La Camera for delivering the annual report on the implementation of program and budget of 2020 and 2021. And also Indonesia is pleased with the proposed work program and budget of 2022 and 2023. Indonesia give the highest gratitude for your excellent hard work in leading IRENA, as it shows tremendous benefits to our effort in global energy transitions. The partnership agreement signed in between the COP26 meetings mark the commitment and strengthen collaboration between Indonesia and IRENA in facing Indonesia's energy transition toward the net zero emission. We are now formulating Indonesia energy transition outlook and also power flexibility assessment, which are expected to be the reference in planning and implementing energy transition toward the net zero emissions by considering the local resources and economic circumstances. We have announced the additional 40 gigawatt of electricity generation up to 2030. 52% will be from renewable energy. Indonesia also will continue to increase the use of sustainable biofuel. Now we are using 30% of the biodiesel coming from palm oil blended with the diesel fuel. Indonesia target to achieve net zero emission by 2060, where intermittent renewable energy such as solar energy will highly contribute to national energy supply. This is the challenge for us on how to find the right technology strategies to enable reliable and cost-effective large-scale solar power plant into our national electric system by combination with battery energy storage system, pump storage, green hydrogen, or any other renewable energy resources. We highly expect that these points will be reflected in the outlook. Another key point that Indonesia would like to propose to IRENA is that IRENA to support be the access portal for low-cost financing to finance renewable energy projects by conducting capacity building for developers in formulating bankable renewable energy projects and also carrying out the investment forum. Energy transition are one of are the main priorities under the Indonesia's G20 presidency, aside from the other two priorities on global health and digital economic transformation. We have set 3 energy transition priorities, with also in good harmony with this statement during the COP26, and we gladly welcome the initiative from IRENA to support the achievement pathway. Securing energy accessibility, smart and clean energy technologies, scaling up and advancing energy financing become the core elements for the energy transition pillar of our presidency. The Energy Transition Forum of G20 presidency has also been having the intensive communication and discussion with international organizations, including the IRENA. Finally, to conclude, the energy transition toward renewable energy must be utilized to boost economic growth and also enable us on a sustainable and green future. All of our efforts in the energy transition will need a robust infrastructure, advanced technology, and adequate financing. And for that, we need to enhance and also to foster our collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you. I now give the floor to Singapore. Mr. Teo Shon Hang Joseph, Chief Negotiator for Climate Change, Ministry of Sustainability and the Environment. Floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President, Director General Francesco La Camera, my friend, Excellencies, delegates, and friends. Singapore agrees with the remarks by the IRENA Director General in the annual report. Indeed, the two global crises, the pandemic and the climate change, demand ambitious and innovative solutions, as well as unprecedented levels of international cooperation. The two crises must be addressed in tandem and holistically. Even as we work to contain the pandemic, we need to take this opportunity to build back better and press ahead with our decarbonization efforts to realize a more sustainable, inclusive, and resilient future. The dynamic nature of the global energy transition underscores the need to continuously enhance multilateral cooperation on the latest renewable energy developments, innovative financing, adaptation, resilience strategies, and capacity building initiatives. As advocated by the IRENA Director General and several speakers earlier today, a coalition of public and private finance is key. We wish to highlight that the sharing of best practices and expertise is equally, if not more important, to bring about a multiplier effect to address the multifaceted challenges of climate change. Singapore has been striving to play a constructive role to support fellow small states and developing countries through our Singapore Cooperation Program to build capacity, implement, and achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. We are working with key partners and have signed MOUs with Australia, New Zealand, Chile, and Japan on low carbon solutions such as hydrogen to accelerate the transition. We also convene the Singapore International Energy Week annually in Singapore to gather ministers and experts from around the world to share best practices, experience, and expertise on the energy transition. Over the years, Singapore and IRENA have continued to deepen our partnership in support of the global energy transition, underpinned by ASEAN-IRENA MOU signed in 2018. We greatly value and appreciate IRENA's contributions to support renewable energy development under the ASEAN Plan of Action for Energy Cooperation. This includes various country-specific analysis, capacity building activities, and the current development of the second ASEAN Renewable Energy Outlook. IRENA has also been a strong contributor to the Singapore International Energy Week events, organizing think tank roundtables with regional and global analysis. The inaugural Singapore IRENA high-level forum, which was held in Singapore last October, was well received with strong participation from ministers and key industry leaders. The forum provided an important platform to discuss ways to mobilize investment and shape an inclusive energy transition. We were also pleased to host IRENA Deputy Director General Ms. Gauri Singh when she shared IRENA's perspectives on the global renewable energy developments and engaged in robust discussions on formulating sustainable strategies. With IRENA's support, we have made good progress, but there is more we can do to accelerate the transition to a low-carbon future and, as the Secretary General said, turn commitments to actions. This includes facilitating the flows of renewable energy in our respective regions, developing and deploying needle-moving low-carbon solutions such as hydrogen and CCUS, and investing in more sustainable low-carbon fuels. Singapore looks forward to continuing our close partnership with IRENA to strengthen the region's energy transition in support of the Paris Agreement and Sustainable Development Goals. Thank you.
Thank you. I now give the floor to Greece, Ms. Alexandra Doukoui, Secretary General Ministry for Environment and Energy.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, greetings from Greece. Thank you very much. It is a great honor to be here with you today, even via this video to discuss about the geopolitics of hydrogen. Hydrogen as a locally, regionally, or globally traded commodity has all the elements actually to influence the geopolitical trends of the 21st century. It can actually become the Swiss Army knife of the energy transition, especially in sectors where electrons cannot be the solution. For example, hard to abate industries, heavy duty vehicles, and other sectors way beyond power generation or renewable powered electrification. Hydrogen can become a reliable and secure supply of energy at all times, night or day, winter or summer, at a cost that is expected to become affordable and gradually competitive. So for Greece, hydrogen is a strategic priority for our energy transition, as it is one of the leading options for storing energy and enabling the integration of variable renewables in the Greek energy mix. And Greece has a very attractive geographic location to produce cheap, sustainable energy from hydrogen, as we have astonishing potential, both solar and wind. We have just concluded our national hydrogen strategy with very ambitious targets in renewable hydrogen, and its deployment integrates symmetrically across the entire hydrogen value chain. We have also demonstrated a diversified portfolio in the first 3 European IPCEI hydrogen waves. Moreover, allow me to say that because of our privileged geographic location, we see ourselves as a gateway of renewable hydrogen produced in the Middle East and Northern Africa and the Eastern Mediterranean, of course. For this, we are exploring further pipelines that could land competitive hydrogen to the continental Europe, while we are also deploying hydrogen-ready receiving terminals and preparing a hydrogen-ready network that will circulate this hydrogen in our national grid and then export it to other neighboring European countries, such as Italy, for example, or the countries of the Balkans. Last but not least, allow me to add that the Greek-owned global fleet will be a means to transport the produced hydrogen and its compounds from the production sites to the emerging demand centers across the globe. Finally, as an EU member, we believe that a European green hydrogen economy with affordable, renewable and low carbon hydrogen is just around the corner. A comprehensive European hydrogen policy will help the EU remove barriers to accelerate the emergency of its hydrogen economy and assume its role as a geopolitical hydrogen power. I can assure you that Greece, as a member of the EU, aspires to take the stride forward and harvest this opportunity, positioning our country in the global hydrogen value chain. Thank you very much, dear colleagues.
Thank you. I now give the floor to Spain. Ms. Teresa Ribera, Deputy Prime Minister for the Ecological Transition Demographic Challenges. Excellency, floor is yours.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates at this IRENA Assembly, it is a great to participate, unfortunately, through a video and not in person, one more year in this important event, in which the different governments of the world, as well as the most relevant actors in the field of renewable energy deployment, share the challenges and the answers with which we're trying to promote the deployment of renewable energies as a modern, safe, reliable, hugely efficient solution from the point of view of costs, as well as hugely important from the point of view of the quality of the service provided. This is a unique year, a year in which we're still experiencing the last, hopefully, the last impacts of this massive global pandemic that has shaken considerably our societies, our economies, our families, in which we've lost a very significant number of our fellow citizens as well. And we have identified the priority issues on which the international community must cooperate. Undoubtedly, one of them is the energy field, in order to ensure a quality supply all over, a supply that can benefit from the technological contributions made by renewables. We have also experienced the effects of a recovery in which, in a very short period of time, large economies of the world simultaneously requested the same raw materials, the same resources to be able to get back that industrial push, that economic pulse of their day-to-day life, which created tensions in some of the most relevant raw material markets, such as gas. A year that shows that if we do not program ahead at full speed, if we do not accelerate our energy transitions, if we do not show our commitment to efficiency in renewables, we can experience once again the bottlenecks we're suffering from at the moment, or even taking a step back, which hopefully will be short-lived. But at least it has led us to think of a possible return to heavier fossil fuels that are more CO2 intensive. So it's an opportunity to call upon all of us for a massive, generalized, agile, rapid deployment, even beyond what we had planned in terms of energy transition, the penetration of renewables. So international solidarity, participation and collaboration for deployment and innovation in the technologies that, though not mature yet, will be the ones providing solutions tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, are absolutely key. They will require different regulatory from those that have structured the previous deployment. But we know that to massively deploy what is already working and to remain committed, promoting the deployment, knowledge, innovation about the solutions of tomorrow is critical. That's why right now, when all countries are already active within their national framework, and in Spain, we're very happy about the fact that despite the crisis, the presence of PV and wind power has not ceased to grow. or the fact that the interest, the investment appetite of large and small companies, large and small investors, the participation through local energy communities, the massive deployment of solar rooftops or other renewables linked to the penetration of electric mobility are some of the keys that should not lead us astray at this time. We must continue on this path, and I count on all of you so that together we can continue to move forward and renewable energies can change geopolitics into a world of peace, stability, progress, and development.
Thank you, Excellency. I now give the floor to China, Mr. Zhong Zhonghu, Administrator at the National Energy Administration.
尊敬的卡梅拉总干事，各位嘉宾。
Distinguished Director General Francesco, distinguished guests and delegates, greetings to you all. I'm delighted to attend the IRENA Assembly. First of all, on behalf of the Chinese government, I'd like to extend my sincere appreciation to President and Vice President, Director General, Mr. La Camera, and colleagues at the IRENA Secretariat for your thoughtful preparations and arrangements. In 2021, IRENA carried out innovative and fruitful work against the backdrop of COVID-19, updating data on global renewable development, releasing a series of insightful reports, organizing frequent exchanges under the collaborative framework, and actively participating in the COP26 and other important events. We can see that this would include renewable energy such as hydrogen, and all of these efforts have strongly supported the development of renewable energies in member countries and further deepened the global consensus on addressing climate change and promoting energy transitions. I would also like to take this opportunity to congratulate IRENA and Director General Mr. La Camera on the achievements over the past year. China attaches great importance to its cooperation with IRENA and fulfilled its duties and obligations in a constructive way. 2021 is a milestone in China-IRENA cooperation. The Ministry of Energy signed a MOU with IRENA last June, opening a new chapter for cooperation on energy transition strategies, clean energy technologies, and supporting clean energy in developing countries. 2021 also witnesses close interaction and win-win cooperation between the two sides. China and IRENA worked together for the first time and successfully hosted the International Dialogue on Energy Transition. China actively participated in IRENA's research and seminars in fields like solar energy, gender survey, green hydrogen policy, hydropower, while IRENA strongly supported the Second Belt and Road Energy Ministerial Conference, the 5th East Asia Clean Energy Forum, and other activities organized by China. China has been committed to driving an energy revolution and made strenuous efforts in developing renewable energy. As of the end of November 2021, the total installed capacity of renewables in China reached 1,019 gigawatts, accounting for 1/3 of the global total and 44% of China's total power generation capacity. Next, China will vigorously promote substitution of renewable energy sources, accelerate the development of a clean, low-carbon, safe, and efficient energy system to fully and faithfully implement the new development philosophy and action plan for CO2 peaking before 2030. Ladies and gentlemen, dear participants, climate change and energy issues are among the key global challenges that would call for collective efforts for international community. Last September, President Xi Jinping announced China will step up support for other developing countries in this area, and China will not build new coal-fired power projects abroad. This shows China is a responsible major country. We recognize that the challenges cannot be solved overnight and therefore need systematic thinking. The gradual phasing out of traditional energy should be based on safe, reliable, new energy alternatives. Our theme today is we can see that we also believe in solid actions. We keep our promises and strengthen our cooperation with IRENA and member countries to jointly to promote the implementation of the 2030 agenda and to move forward towards a green and inclusive energy future together. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I now give the floor to Japan. His Excellency Kiyoshi Odawara, State Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to deliver these remarks. 2021 was a year in which many countries committed to a high level of ambition toward achieving decarbonized society. This growing momentum to accelerate energy transitions is thanks to the continuing efforts of IRENA under the leadership of Dr. La Camera. I would once again like to express my deepest appreciation to Dr. La Camera and his team. Last year was also a year that brought to light many challenges that we must overcome. Surging global energy prices and frequent power outages in many countries highlighted the severe reality that to ensure energy security, it is vital to pursue approaches specific to individual countries and regions while achieving energy transition. While there is no single path toward decarbonization, Japan, in cooperation with IRENA, will encourage realistic global energy transitions by focusing on the following three initiatives. First, when pursuing energy transitions, it is crucial to disseminate technologies and know-how to optimize the balance of domestic energy supply and demand in order to avoid problems such as power shortages as far as possible. Japan has particularly robust and considerably advanced technology for power system management at its disposal and is one of the world's leading countries in terms of achieving a society with few power outages. Japan has been supporting power systems in Kenya and Jordan through the Japan International Cooperation Agency, or JICA, and is committed to promoting such technologies for smooth energy transitions. Second, progress must be made on utilization of fuels such as hydrogen and ammonia that contribute to decarbonization and establishing an international supply chain for these fuels in order to achieve a realistic energy transition that accounts for energy security. Japan would like to contribute to this field by collaborating with IRENA member countries. Third, we need to ensure a truly sustainable path toward realizing decarbonized society. To do so, efforts towards transparent and fair governance of critical mineral resources supply chains, which are essential for promoting renewable energy, will become increasingly important in the coming years. IRENA's policy recommendations and collaborative framework, as well as the discussions among member countries, will contribute greatly to these efforts in these three areas. Akhiran awadu ang ariba, ang imutinani lilbardi armudif daurati luimarat Liadamiha Arkawi Lian Shtati IRENA. 2022 will be another important year for IRENA and also marks the 50th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between Japan and the UAE. To achieve our common goal, in close cooperation with the UAE and IRENA, we will continue to take the lead in various fields towards energy transitions, including renewable energy technologies, renewable energy in the agriculture sector, and behavioral transformation to promote energy conservation. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you, Excellency. I now give the floor to Japan again, to Excellency Kenichi Osada, State Minister of Economy, Trade and Industry. Floor yours, Excellency.
Ministers, Mr. Nakamura, Director General of IRENA, and all participants, I'm Kenichi Hosoda, State Minister of Economy, Trade and Industry of Japan. I would like to make an intervention as a 12th session of the IRENA Assembly. Energy is the most important commodity in the world today. National wealth and energy use are strongly correlated. We believe that it is important to achieve post-carbon neutrality and a stable and affordable energy supply, taking into account that there are various pathways that can be taken according to the situation of each country. In this context, it was a great honor for Japan to be able to contribute to the discussion on the formulation of IRENA's midterm strategy for the next 5 years to promote renewable energy as a chair of the IRENA Council last year. Japan labeled its strategic energy plan in light of the carbon neutrality by 2050 and the new greenhouse gas emission reduction target for fiscal year 2030. When executing energy policy, it is important to keep balance among energy security, economic efficiency, and environment. Based on this viewpoint, Japan will promote efforts to maximize the introduction of renewable energies, targeting the ratio of renewable energies in fiscal year 2030 to be around 36% to 38%, which is about twice the power source mix of fiscal year 2019. In order to realize carbon neutrality, it is crucial to promote realistic transitions through various options, including but not limited to renewables. In particular, hydrogen is a key technology for carbon neutrality that is expected to be used in a wide range of fields, such as power generation, transportation, and industry. Japan is investing approximately $4 billion to develop and demonstrate technologies for the production of green hydrogen, including hydrogen derived from renewable energy sources, and for a large-scale hydrogen supply chain with overseas partners. As IRENA covers more than 106 countries and regions around the world, it is expected that it will play an important role to lead discussions to promote global energy transition steadily. By analyzing the international energy situation and trends in the development of related technologies, including hydrogen, and presenting excellent proposals to the member countries. The Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry of Japan will continue to make active contribution to IRENA through sharing the knowledge and experience gained from Japan's efforts to promote realistic energy transition in member countries, together with financial contribution. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you, Excellency. I now give the floor to Switzerland. His Excellency, Mr. Benno Riva, State Secretary of Swiss Federal Office of Energy.
IRENA and its entire staff for its continuity management during the pandemic. Lockdowns and travel bans have apparently been no impediment to prolific output, both in the form of studies and webinars. The Director General's annual report makes impressive reading. We also congratulate Director General La Camera for his reactiveness by focusing on how the pandemic has affected renewables and what opportunities may emerge from the crisis. Global trends in renewable capacity additions are encouraging, but not sufficient to reach the Paris Agreement and Sustainable Development Goals number 7. Even if all COP26 commitments and pledges are implemented, the gap with Paris and SDG 7 remains very large. One important reason for this gap is lack of finance. IRENA notes that public finance for renewables has been declining over the past years. Post-pandemic recovery packages, where they exist, feature too little spending for the energy transition. Many countries, especially in the developing world, have no recovery plans at all. Their capacity to invest in sustainable energy and energy access has deteriorated with the pandemic. We look forward to the next edition of IRENA's global landscape of renewable finance, even though it may once again reveal how scant investment in Africa and other developing countries is. That's why Switzerland wishes to reiterate its belief that IRENA cannot do enough to help mobilize private investment in general and in developing countries in particular. We thank the Director General for IRENA's involvement in the collaborative frameworks on hydropower under the co-facilitation of Costa Rica and Switzerland. The framework's engagement culminated in the World Hydropower Congress hosted by Costa Rica and the support by some members of the San Jose Declaration on Sustainable Hydropower. For some time, Switzerland has been proponent for a greater engagement of IRENA in hydropower. The importance of hydropower to increase energy access and as an enabler to integrate higher shares of renewables are well documented, most recently by analysis of the International Forum on Pumped Storage Hydropower, in which IRENA is associated. In autumn this year, Switzerland plans to host a conference with IRENA on developing hydropower in countries where finance is difficult. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Excellency. I now give the floor to Croatia. Mr. Avo Milatek, State Secretary, Minister of Economy and Sustainable Development.
Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to be a part of the 12th IRENA Assembly. As a member of the European Union, the Republic of Croatia is deeply invested in the promotion and strengthening of renewable energy as one of the most important steps toward achieving sustainable development goals and reaching the targets set by the European Green Deal and the Fit for 55 package. Croatia was very ambitious even before the European Green Deal as regards to renewables target in final consumption. Changes to the integrated energy and climate plan are being prepared. This will further raise the level of ambition, especially in the heating and cooling sector, while increasing the target to more than 39%. Furthermore, Croatia has set a high renewable energy target. Our potential in renewables represents a great opportunity for economic growth, the production of electricity from domestic sources, and thus long-term reduction of imports, creation of new jobs, and the development of the community. Allow me to point out that Croatia has a lot of potential in the production of electricity from renewable sources. We plan to intensify our efforts in promoting renewable energy production. Croatia has significant solar and wind potential along the coast, as well as other sources such as geothermal in the south. Therefore, we have the opportunity to move very fast from fossil energy to renewable energy. But the greatest challenge is ensuring sufficient funding sources. That is why one of the investments we are making in our energy sector is into the digitalization, revitalization, and expansion of our electricity grid. This is a challenging task for us, but we are confident of success. Croatia also aims to encourage the use of hydrogen and the development of a hydrogen-based economy as an important element of green transition, given that it is a medium that does not emit CO2 and it is applied in several sectors. It is precisely the growth in renewables that will open up the potential for the production of renewable hydrogen and enable the development of a part of the economy that is essential for the decarbonization of transport and industry sectors. I sincerely hope that energy producers will recognize the potential of hydrogen, thus ensuring clean electricity and added value. These targets require the development of effective instruments, such as more focused research and demonstration of new technologies, more focused use of financial support, as well as cross-border cooperation on renewable energy. In this respect, further deployment of renewables requires support from consumers and investors who in turn need a credible framework in order to keep capital costs down. Furthermore, we encourage investment into photovoltaic technology, since we expect that the utilization of solar power will increase rapidly in the near future. Croatia has a total installed capacity of 60 megawatts of solar power. At the moment, a project is being implemented on one of the Croatian islands that will cover 10% of the current installed capacity and will improve the regional electricity network. Let me also mention our geothermal potential. This area attracts an increasing number of investors in Croatia since the cost of technology continues to fall and its efficiency to rise. That is why, in our opinion, geothermal technology will mark a further significant step in reaching the ambitious targets set by the European Union for 2030. We therefore greatly appreciate the existing close ties and fruitful cooperation between the EU and IRENA, which are significant contribution in our path to fulfilling renewable energy goals envisaged for 2050. Thank you.
Thank you. I now give the floor to Turkmenistan, His Excellency Haji Muhammad Razif Mayradov, Honorable Minister of Energy.
Dear participants of the 12th session of IRENA Assembly, on behalf of the Ministry of Energy of Turkmenistan, let me welcome you and express my gratitude for the invitation to participate in your representative forum and wish you all the success. Dear colleagues, provision of dynamic and sustainable development of the national economy, environmental protection, rational use of natural resources, careful attitude to the country's richest flora and fauna, and their preservation for the future generations of Turkmen people are priorities for action of our state. In order to ensure the sustainable development of the national economy, the expansion of the use of renewable energy sources, the development of energy-saving and innovative technologies. In recent years, a number of important documents have been adopted by the head of state. A state energy saving program for 2018-2024, as well as concept for the development of Turkmen Lake Taltenasir region for 2019-25 are among those. As a part of this concept, in the view of environmental protection, introduction of environmental technologies, it is important. The design work is currently underway to develop the hybrid solar and wind power plant with 10 megawatts total capacity in Serdar region. Dear colleagues, in order to protect the environment, rational use of the natural resources, as well as the transition to the green economy, the law of Turkmenistan on renewable energy was adopted during the 13th meeting of the 6th convocation of the Mejlis. There was a law adopted on March 13, 2021. It establishes legal, organizational, economic and life foundation, as well as normalizes legal relations arising as a result of the renewable energy, such as solar, wind energy, and others. Recently, our country, being the member of IRENA, has been very actively cooperating with the authoritative organizations as yours, as well as with the UN development programs, or CACE, and many other international structures. 10th of November 21, Memorandum of Understanding was signed between Turkmenistan, Turkmenenergy, and Abu Dhabi Future Energy Company, Masdar. This memorandum will contribute to strengthening mutually beneficial cooperation in the implementation of potential projects and services. In this regard, I would like to emphasize once again that the general use of green technologies and effective measures to ensure energy conservation in the country's power industry will allow to qualitatively improve the social living conditions of the Turkmen people in the near future, as well as will actively contribute to the implementation of large-scale projects carried out in our countries under the guidance of the esteemed President of Turkmenistan in various fields, among which industry, construction, agro-industrial complex, transport, housing, and municipal services. Ultimately, these measures will make it possible to really ensure the achievement of the noble goals of the sustainable development and environmental stabilities. In conclusion, let me express my gratitude to the forum organizers and wish you success in your work. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Excellency. I now give the floor to Serbia, His Excellency Zorana Mihajlovic, Deputy Prime Minister of Mining and Energy.
Ladies and gentlemen, the recent energy crisis and the surge in energy prices represent a serious warning of what we could face in the future unless we take decisive steps today, each of us in our own country, in order to ensure sufficient energy and energy-generating products for the following decades. Energy is the most expensive when it is unavailable, and that is why we must not stop developing the capacities that could provide us with a clean and available energy, renewable energy sources. We have to be brave and fight the different types of resistance to this. By signing the Paris Agreement on Climate Change and the Sofia Declaration on the Green Agenda for the Western Balkans, Serbia has clearly committed to the path of energy transition and the fight against climate change. In 2021, we took the first steps and adopted a new modern legal framework in the field of mining and energy, among which the first law on the use of renewable energy sources is particularly significant. Currently, the most important strategic documents are being prepared, such as an integrated national energy and climate plan of Serbia for the period until 2030 with the projections until 2050, and the strategy for energy development of Republic of Serbia for the period until 2040 with projections until 2050. Based on the newly adopted laws and the established strategic goals in the field of decarbonization, promotion of energy efficiency, and development of renewable energy sources, the share of renewable sources in the gross final energy consumption increased and amounted to 26.3% for 2020. In that way, we will be able to implement the most important part of our energy policy, which is investments. The total value of planned and potential projects in the field of energy and mining amount to 28 billion euros. The most important part of the investment plan are renewable energy sources, construction of large and medium-sized hydropower plants, wind farms, large solar power plants, as well as small solar power plants on the roofs of households and factories. All this will come with the development of additional capacities for energy storage, primarily in pumped storage hydropower plants and later in batteries, as well as in the use of hydrogen. Serbia has already been recognized as a country with a highly favorable environment for investments and attract the highest rate of investment in the region. I believe that the year of 2022, in which we are conducting the first auctions that are market-based, will be the year of the beginning of large projects and a new investment in renewable energy sources, and I would like to invite you to use the opportunity and to invest in Serbia. Also, Serbia is open to all types of international cooperation, both in sharing of our experiences and learning from others, because we believe that only by bravely accepting new technologies and innovations we can make progress and achieve our goal, which is to achieve the security of energy supply and have healthy environment.
Thank you, Excellency. I now give the floor to Germany, Mr. Mikhail Helner, Parliamentary State Secretary at the Federal Ministry for Economic Affairs and Climate Action.
Dear General La Camera, Presidents of the Assembly Sessions, colleagues, it's my pleasure to participate at IRENA Assembly for the very first time. Let me start by delivering the warmest regards of my Minister Robert Habeck and by expressing Germans' high appreciation of IRENA's work. Globally, the world of energy is changing at an unprecedented scale and speed, as the urgent need to decarbonize the way we generate and use energy in order to fight climate change is ever growing. To avoid the worst consequences of climate change, we need to keep global warming below 1.5 degrees. Germany is fully committed to the 1.5 degree target, both nationally and in our cooperation with international partners. Turning this target into reality means, above all, a rapid coal to renewable switch around the world until 2040, in industrialized countries even until 2030. At the same time, we need massive installations of new wind and solar capacities. In this unprecedented historic transformation, all our countries need the best analytic guidance and hands-on policy support. For this, the work of IRENA is of the uttermost importance. The German government is convinced that a flexible, renewable, and efficient energy system is also key to boosting our economy, ensuring energy security, creating good and sustainable jobs, and improving public health. On the basis of this conviction, the new government has adopted ambitious plans to significantly speed up the energy transition and to step up our efforts to combat global warming. For example, we will double the share of renewable power in gross electricity consumptions to 80% by 2030. By the same year, we also strive to fully phase out coal-fired power generations. To get there, we will significantly speed up photovoltaic expansion. One planned measure here is to make solar rooftop panels mandatory for every new non-residential building. We will also accelerate the expansion of offshore wind capacities. In addition to these efforts, at a national level, we will also further step up our activities beyond Germany's borders. We will develop a global market for green hydrogen with our partners, and we want to offer countries around the world to join forces with us in partnerships that bring about the rapid coal to renewable shift I mentioned in the beginning. Close and effective international cooperation is vital as the energy transition, climate protection, and ensuring a healthy planet for future generations are a truly global project. For this, we need to work hand in hand even more closely at many different levels, including with IRENA. As countries move forward from ambition to action, IRENA is a key partner for all of us. The agency has achieved a great deal since its early days. Renewables are now mainstream and play a key role in any strategy for tackling climate change and achieving the SDGs. We all need to play our part and help IRENA to build on these successes as we face up the huge task ahead of us to turn our global net zero ambitions into reality for the benefit of the world's climate and as an engine for progress for our countries and citizens. Last but not least, I want to thank United Arab Emirates as the host country and congratulate our UAE colleagues on the impressive expo and its focus on sustainability. I look forward to a successful assembly session this year and many more to follow. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I now give the floor to France. His Excellency Ms. Barbara Pompili, Minister for the Ecological Transitions.
Mesdames, Messieurs, je suis particulièrement heureuse de m'adresser à vous pour cette assemblée de l'Agence internationale des énergies renouvelables. Je sais que nous vivons tous un contexte sanitaire difficile, mais malgré cela, il est plus que jamais nécessaire de garder le cap vers la transition écologique et énergétique. Et ce projet de transition écologique rassemble de plus en plus de pays. L'Union européenne, avec le Pacte vert, s'est ainsi donné une ambition politique majeure, devenir le premier continent neutre en carbone d'ici 2050. C'est dans ce contexte que la France exerce depuis le 1er janvier la présidence du Conseil de l'Union européenne. Nous saurons être au rendez-vous pour concrétiser, avec nos partenaires européens, cette ambition climatique de l'Union européenne. Et les énergies renouvelables auront un rôle de premier plan à jouer. Aux côtés de l'efficacité énergétique et d'autres sources d'énergie décarbonée, elles seront incontournables pour atteindre la neutralité carbone. Sachez donc que je partage votre engagement.
They will be essential in order to become carbon neutral. That is why, as part of its commitment and its work in this context, they are essential. Renewable sources of energy are central for the European Union. The European Union has set a goal of 32% of renewables as part of its energy mix by 2030, and this goal is already reflected in the national plans of all member states. Also, the Council and the European Parliament are currently examining the ability to raise that ambition to 40% by 2030, an ambition that France is supportive of. Also, the Next Generation Recovery Plan for the European Union has as a goal to foster renewables in building, sports, or transport and industry in order to prepare for the future. And in the future, we want to promote decarbonized hydrogen in France. We believe that renewables are key for the environmental transition, and our goals are ambitious. We want to move from 19% of renewables in 2020 to 33% by 2030, in keeping with our pluriannual energy plan. So it's quite ambitious. However, we have to live up to our expectations because decarbonizing our energy means protecting the planet where 7 billion people live today. So thank you also very much for your attention, and I wish this assembly fruitful deliberations today and tomorrow.
Thank you. I now give the floor to Italy. His Excellency Ms. Ilaria Fontana, Under Secretary of State for Ecological Transitions.
Salve a tutti, è un grandissimo piacere essere con voi e rivolgo al direttore generale Francesco La Camera i miei più sentiti ringraziamenti per l'invito a partecipare a questo importantissimo appuntamento. All'agenzia IRENA va riconosciuto un ruolo di primo piano nel sostegno attivo all'obiettivo ambizioso di accelerare la transizione energetica pulita verso la neutralità climatica e le emissioni nette entro la metà del secolo. Per il nostro Paese il rapporto di collaborazione con IRENA assume una valenza ancora più solida e fondamentale nel quadro del ruolo dell'Italia e dei seguiti dei recenti appuntamenti della Presidenza G20 e di partnership della Presidenza britannica della COP26 a Glasgow, nonché del ruolo di Global Champion al dialogo di alto livello dell'ONU sull'energia. A proposito di G20, tengo a ricordare il sostegno che IRENA ha assicurato alla Presidenza italiana 2021 e che sono certa non farà mancare alla Presidenza indonesiana, naturalmente con il favore dell'Italia che è membro della Troika. L'Italia rinnova quindi l'impegno a facilitare il dialogo fra i Paesi membri con la partecipazione attiva ai framework collaborativi e in particolare la copresidenza di quello sulle energie offshore e marine e la partecipazione al gruppo di lavoro sulla strategia di medio termine. La transizione ecologica richiederà trasformazioni radicali nelle tecnologie e nei processi produttivi, nelle abitudini di consumo e di vita, soprattutto per le prossime generazioni. Proprio per il coinvolgimento e la formazione di giovani leader nella transizione ecologica, stiamo lavorando anche con IRENA con progetti in tutto il mondo e contiamo sulla collaborazione.
We're working with IRENA and projects all over the world, and we count on your collaboration. Italy's priorities focus on speeding up research and innovation in clean energy sectors and tackling climate change through technologies, and to do so so that our projects can be more sustainable in the future, in line with the objectives of the Paris Agreement and the 2030 Agenda. Promoting new technologies provide all our citizens with environmental benefits, fostering a future with zero net carbon, a goal we intend to achieve at the middle of the century, together with other partners within the EU and a growing number of like-minded countries, also according to the future that has been traced by IRENA as well. Energy transition must be addressed globally through international agreement, and to do so as well through international collaboration. So it is essential to consolidate the collaboration with innovative partners, and that is why Italy appreciates the cooperation process that has been announced during the ministerial meeting in 2021 between IRENA and Initial Innovation. The goal is strengthening global renewable energy innovation efforts and accelerate innovation through more effective policies and a greater collaboration that is cross-border. We also share the vision of green hydrogen's key role, in which hydrogen and biomethane become integral parts of the solution in our fight against climate change. The Italian government has adopted measures to support the development of green hydrogen within 4 different national programs. The National Plan, Resilience Plan, as well as the Italian Energy Compact, the Common European Interest, the IPCI, during the high-level dialogue of the United Nations on energy. Italy has gained a long experience on the issues of hydrogen production and transport, thanks to the participation in Horizon 2021. We need to encourage public-private partnership, also promoting the ability to move forward. Let me conclude now with a word on the future and youth. Last October in Milan, Italy, in preparation for COP26, we organized the Youth for Climate, an event that gave the opportunity to more than 400 young people from all over the world to unite and to understand what their priorities are. That is why, as announced in Glasgow by the Italian Minister of Ecological Transition, Mr. Roberto Cingolani, we decided to make Youth for Climate a regular event. Thanking the Director General once again for the invitation, as well as all other participants of this assembly, I would like to renew the full Italian cooperation with IRENA in these efforts towards energy transition.
Thank you. I now give the floor to San Marino, His Excellency Mr. Theodora Longfernini, Minister of Labour, Economic Planning, Sports, Information and Relations with the Autonomous Public Utilities State Corporation. Floor is yours, Excellency.
Madam President, Director General, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor and a great privilege for me to take part in this 12th session of the Assembly of the International Renewable Energy Agency, IRENA. I wish to congratulate Mrs. Alexandra Iltinoco on her appointment as President of this Assembly. I would also like to thank Mr. Director General Francesco La Camera for the work carried out during his mandate. The Republic of San Marino has recently become the 167th member of the agency, thus taking another important step in terms of responsibility and commitment in the process of energy transition at an international level. There is no doubt that the whole world must take serious action to combat climate change and protect the environment. This was made even more evident by the outcomes of COP26 of last November. The Glasgow Climate Pact demonstrated the need for a profound cross-cutting transformation, starting from global energy production and consumption. Madam President, in its small territory, and despite the current difficult health situation due to COVID-19, San Marino is working to accelerate the transition to a cleaner, fairer, and more resilient energy system. We aspire to become an open-air laboratory where bold and fair innovations can be discussed, tested, and implemented. As a small state, it is our policy to start small in order to implement the change one step at a time. Incentives for energy efficiency of public and private buildings have been reorganized, as well as the management of renewable energy production. Further initiatives in this area will be implemented, working toward a more sustainable future in line with the 2030 Agenda goals. The development of renewable energies in the Republic of San Marino is mainly focused on photovoltaic systems which have increased in recent years. By combining these initiatives, we aim to achieve an energy production from renewable source equal to 35% of domestic consumption. In addition, we continue to encourage electric and hybrid mobility in order to implement concrete and comprehensive sustainable policies across the entire supply chain, from production to energy consumption. There are just some of ongoing initiatives we intend to pursue. By joining IRENA, we want to increase our possibility thanks to multilateral cooperation, which for us a fundamental resource. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Excellency. I now give the floor to United Kingdom. His Excellency, Mr. Patrick Modi, Ambassador of the United Kingdom to the UAE.
Thank you, Chair. And let me start by saying thank you to IRENA and my colleagues around this virtual table. It was with your help we were able to achieve an ambitious COP26 outcome, a fruitful UN high-level dialogue on energy, and maintain an ambitious work programme over the last year. Through our partnerships, we were able to put a just and inclusive energy transition at the heart of COP26, to launch the Energy Transition Council, and to mobilise over $20 billion to support countries move from coal to clean energy. I personally saw IRENA achieve impressive milestones in 2021, with the establishment of the Global High-Level Forum on Energy Transition, the World Energy Transition Outlook, and output-based work programmes. The UK remains a strong supporter of IRENA and its continued efforts on investment and project facilitation, such as the Climate Investment Platform and the Energy Transition Accelerator Financing Platform. As ongoing COP president, we will continue to demonstrate strong UK leadership over our presidency year to make sure the promises made at Glasgow are kept and delivered to the highest standards. IRENA will be at the centre of the energy transition movement and in delivering the Glasgow breakthroughs as we move from COP27 to COP28. The Breakthrough Agenda was an initiative launched at COP26, endorsed by 45 countries representing more than 70% of global GDP. They will deliver an international plan to accelerate clean and affordable technology globally by 2030. And in the coming year, we look forward to working in collaboration with IRENA on the report on the state of the transition. Echoing Minister Greg Hands, I continue to encourage IRENA to use this momentum to focus our efforts on helping member countries meet their NDCs and work towards leader-level commitments at COP27. I believe we can align collaborative frameworks, IRENA's next medium-term strategy, and their programming to the commitments highlighted in the Glasgow Climate Change Pact. We remain immensely grateful for IRENA's leadership as we move towards clean and green energy systems, and hope and assure that our partnership will continue to grow and thrive in the coming year. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. I now give the floor to Saudi Arabia. His Excellency Mr. Khalid bin Saleh Al Sultan, President of the King Abdullah City for Atomic and Renewable Energy.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.
Good afternoon, good evening to you all, distinguished guests, Director of IRENA. May peace and blessings be upon you all. It gives me pleasure to participate with you in the 12th session of IRENA Assembly. At the outset, on behalf of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, we appreciate the Director General for all his commendable efforts amidst COVID-19 pandemic and the world circumstances. And I congratulate also Antigua, Barbuda for their Greece, Egypt for their vice presidency and the election of the president of this session. Distinguished guests, we are becoming more aware of the challenges ahead in terms of energy transition, and we are looking forward to all member states to have secure, safe, environmentally friendly and sustainable energy sources coming from clean energy and renewables. In order to face these challenges, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia gave its recommendations based on the recommendations of the King and the Crown Prince and the Minister of Energy. They took concrete measures to adopt the initiative of Clean and Green Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and support clean energy sources and improve the energy mix and use renewables and expand the use of natural gas and rationalize the energy from fossil fuels and encourage projects, establishments such as production of hydrogen, stockpiling of hydrogen, and working for decarbonization of energy. It is my pleasure to give you updates of the successes that happened in the kingdom. In the kingdom, we received financing for 4 projects with an expansion of 2,000 gigawatts and achieve our targets in 2030. We commend the programs and initiatives launched by institutions in the kingdom to finance industries, technologies, innovative tools in renewables, improve the human capacities, in addition to programs that support innovation and all over the kingdom. We commend the Saudi companies working in the field of renewables. that are being renowned nationally and globally. In conclusion, we reiterate the support of the Kingdom to IRENA, its efforts at all levels to achieve its mission. May peace and blessings be upon you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Excellencies, and everyone for your speech and interventions. Before I go to the next agenda, I want to place some words on behalf of my country. Mr. President, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor and pleasure attending this 12th session of the IRENA Assembly on a virtual platform. Let me express my appreciation to the Director General of IRENA, Mr. Francisco La Camera, and his team for their endeavors in planning and organizing this event during this pandemic. Mr. President, this year, Bangladesh is celebrating 50 years of its independence and birth centenary of Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, who led the nation to freedom. Mr. President, Bangladesh has made every effort to scale up renewable energy. Despite its limited resources and insignificant carbon footprint, in order to meet the commitments outlined in SDG 7 and the NDC, I'm happy to share that under the dynamic leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, who is also the Minister of Power, Energy and Mineral Resources, Bangladesh has been able to maintain stable growth even during this pandemic. Currently, 99.75% of our population has access to electricity, where contribution of renewable energy is more than 10%. We have achieved remarkable success in providing access to electricity to cover 20 million people outside the grid network through installation of more than 6 million solar home systems. In addition to solar home system, 26 mini grids are now providing grid quality power in remote areas. More than 2,000 solar irrigation systems with aggregated capacity of around 50 megawatt are now in operation, reducing significant amount of diesel consumptions. As of now, 8 solar parks with aggregated capacity of 231 megawatt are feeding electricity to the grid. Taking all applications together, installed capacity and solar power in the country stands at around 650 megawatt. Excellencies, Mr. President, Bangladesh, with more than 160 million people in a land mass of 147,570 square kilometers, could not provide enough land required for setting up utility scale of solar power plants because of competing demand of land for agriculture and other uses. Hence, we are exploring potential of floating solar technology and adapted of rooftop solar power generation, which is now financially viable option for commercial and industrial consumers in Bangladesh. The government of Bangladesh launched net metering guidelines to incentives rooftop solar. Since the commencement of the net metering program on July 28, 2018, around 1,500 net meter connections have been completed. Bangladesh currently has the world's largest rooftop solar system with a capacity of 20 megawatt in a single location in the Chattogram Korean EPZ site. However, solar power alone will not sufficient to meet the renewable power generation target. That is why we have taken steps to explore potential of wind energy and other renewable resources. Studies conducted so far reveal a moderate wind resources in Bangladesh. So far, 245 megawatt wind power project is under implementation. SHEDA has initiated several projects to facilitate wind power projects by collecting site-specific data and complete feasibility study. For large-scale renewable power generation, we need to eye on sea space, which is now almost equivalent in size of the country's landmass. For offshore wind power development, IRENA may extend cooperation to access the potentials of wind energy in ocean space for developing countries. The government of Bangladesh has signed a deal to build a 42.5 megawatt waste to energy plant at a Dhaka North Corporation, City Corporation dumping site. Through the City Corporation and municipalities, similar waste to energy plants will be developed in phases. Distinguished guests, in today's interdependent world, no country can solve its energy challenges on its own. That's why international cooperation is so crucial. Being mindful of our limited renewable resources, we have taken initiatives to import renewable energy from neighboring countries. I take this opportunity to appreciate the works done so far by IRENA in advancing renewable energy. On this auspicious occasion, I would like to reiterate our commitment to work together with a view to encourage innovative, affordable application of renewable technologies. Thank you very much. This is our last intervention for today. I move to the next agenda. Distinguished colleagues, we have reached the end of our deliberation for this evening. The Assembly will resume tomorrow at 3 p.m. Gulf Standard Time. We will continue with member interventions, followed by agenda item 10, reports from ministerial meetings and other events. This meeting is now adjourned. Thank you all.